Hello everyone, I'm Diane. Welcome to my channel Beyond the Sewing Room. So today I'm going to share a sew along with you for a closet core pattern. So it's the Elodie wrap dress, it's this one. And we're going to be making view A here. So I say view A, has it got, yeah, it is view A. It's a short sleeve version and it just comes above the knee. So if you want to make the longer line version, you can still sew along with me today. But if you want to make the long sleeved or longer sleeved version, you need to make sure you cut out the two different pieces. So there's different pieces for the top, and one is for the short sleeves and one is for the longer sleeves. So you need to make sure you get the right one. So this is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to do this step by step so you can follow along with me if you have this pattern and if you'll find it helpful. So please let me know at the end if you enjoyed this and if you sew along with me. Or if you intend on making this, maybe you can save it and come back to it later. So I'm really pleased with this because I said in my previous video, I got this from a charity shop for a couple of pounds and it was a brand new pattern. So I thought it'd be something nice to do. And I've got some lovely fabric to make it up in, so it'll be lovely for the summer. So let's get started. And first of all, we're going to cut out our pattern pieces. So I'll show you those now. So here are our skirt pieces. So here we have the front skirt for all views. So the only difference will be is the length you cut it. You will need to make sure that you have this arrow here on the straight grain. So don't, whatever you do, pop it this way with the side of the skirt against the fold or anything like that, because you need to make sure that it's lined correctly. So this line on the straight grain of the fabric like this. So you need to sort of, if you've got it folded, you need it sort of in the middle. And then you need to make sure that you mark on the markings here for the pockets. You can lengthen or shorten at this line here. And then we've got hip notches and centre front notches here. Then we've got the back skirt piece. So again, we're going to cut two pieces. The straight grain is this way. Make a note of your markings and lengthen or shorten at this point if you need to. Here we have the front bodice. This is for view A, so this is the short sleeve version. You're going to cut two pieces and the straight grain is this way. Note your markings and these pleat markings here and the centre front point. Here we have the back. Again, you're going to cut two in fabric. The straight grain is this way. Make a note of your markings. Now we've got the skirt pockets. So for all views, you're going to cut two. And the belts. You're going to cut two in fabric. This is the back facing. You're going to cut one on the fold and one on the folding interfacing. Then we have the front facing. You're going to cut two in fabric and two in interfacing. The front waistband, you're going to cut four in fabric and two in interfacing. And the back waistband, two in fabric and one in interfacing. So now we're ready to get started. So you want to apply your interfacing to your pieces that need interfacing on them. So that's the waistband pieces, the back neck facing and the front neck facing. So apply this and then I would say pin your paper back to it when you've done that, because then that helps you remember which piece is which, because sometimes when you've got them all cut out and interfaced, if you don't keep the paper with it, it can get confusing. So that's what I'd suggest doing. Change up your needle, make sure you've got the correct needle for the fabric that you're using. This one that I'm using is a cotton lawn. I've got a number 70 needle on for mine. I've tried that and that's working good. So when you're ready to begin, first of all, we're going to stay stitch around the front neck pieces. So the bits that come down the front here on either side of the wrap, we're going to stay stitch 1.3 away from the raw edge. So that's just to keep it from stretching out. And the seams on this pattern are 1.6 throughout, unless I say otherwise. So we're going to do that first of all. We're also going to do it around the top parts of our skirt pieces. And you can also do it down the sides as well. I'm not going to do that on mine, but it just does suggest doing that. But I'm not going to. I don't usually find I need to. And I am going to be overlocking my seams after as well. So that's up to you whether you do that or whether you add a zigzag stitch. So stay stitching first of all around the neck and around the tops of your skirt panels. So 1.3 from the raw edge, just stitch down the front of both of your panels. Also stay stitched round the back neck pieces. Now around the top of your skirt panels. Now at this point, now that I've stitched around the top of my back skirt panels, I'm going to stitch those two pieces together, just so that these two are kept together and out of the way for now. So I'm going to do that now. Now, I always think it's best to mark certain points. So here we have the outside hip panel has got one notch, and then you'll see this back centre panel has got two notches here. So sometimes if you put coloured pins in and you have your own system for doing this, it helps you remember. So I've put a green pin to the outside to remind me that that's the hip, just in case my markings become unclear. So I've got my two double notches here, they match up together, and this is going to be the centre back seam. So pin this in place if you need to, and we're going to stitch this now with a 1.6 centimetre seam allowance. Now you've got these 4 little notches in the back bodice pieces. You're going to match these notches together, so 2 here, look, and you fold it over so it goes towards the outside. That's on the right side of the fabric. So you do 1 here and 1 here. So you're bringing those notches together and it's creating this pleat look. And then I've popped in a pin, and then we can just stitch across that bottom bit and baste it, and then that'll keep those in place. So do that on both sides. Now at this point, place your 2 back panels of your bodice together, right sides facing like this. Match up the notches at the centre back seam. We're going to stitch down that back seam with a 1.6 centimetre seam allowance. Now take your front bodice piece and fold it back like this. So this is the right side, so you're folding it, so it's right side to right side, and you're lining up this first pair of pleat lines here. So you've got these marked on. So if you fold it back, you can see this line here. We're going to stitch down this line to create that first pleat, then we're going to press it. When you've done that, we can form our remaining pleats. So do this one first of all. Now with right sides facing, place your front pieces of your bodice on top of your back piece like this. So we've lined up the shoulders. We're going to stitch along the shoulder here with a 1.6 centimetre seam allowance, and also pin under the arm here, and we're going to stitch that seam in place also. At the underarm here, it's got a slight curve. When you've finished this seam, you may want to go over it again for extra strength, because then we're going to trim it down small. So if you're overlocking, you can do this on your overlocker. Otherwise, trim it and then edge finish it with a zigzag stitch, and this will just keep that curve lying flat. Now you're going to attach your front facing pieces to your back neck piece like this. So if you lay them out first of all so that you can see, so we've got right sides facing, look, and we're joining the shoulder here. So we're matching this marking, this notch here and here on both sides. See, we have a mark there. And it comes down with this curve, and you've got this point going to the front, the centre front. We're now going to stitch that in place. When you've done this, you can edge finish around the outer edge, so the outside all the way around. So you can either overlock that, or you can do small fold to the inside or a zigzag stitch, so that's up to you. I'm going to overlock mine. Now you're going to pin that facing all the way around the neckline, around the back and down the front like this, matching up your shoulder seams and also your notches. Then when you've done that, we're going to stitch it in place all the way around, and it does state in the pattern that it's best to do it in sections directionally. So start from the waist, sew to the centre back neck, stop, and then go to the other waist and then sew to the centre back neck from there. So don't just do it all the way around in one go because it might pull out and stretch a little bit. So do it that way. Now understitch your seam allowance to your facing. So you're pressing the seam towards the facing and we're stitching a couple of millimetres away from this seam here onto the facing part. This will keep it from rolling outwards. Now you're going to press the hem under on your sleeves. So you press it under 6 millimetres and then you press it under again. And it says to top stitch, but you can do it from the inside if you wish. So it will just be like this. You can secure the back of your facing in the seam here at the back so it's hidden, and also at the shoulders in the seam line. You can stitch in the ditch there and there. Alternatively, you could hand stitch it from the inside if you wish. Now turn back the top of your pockets. So you turn it back to the line indicated and then you turn it under again like this, and we're going to stitch along the top on both sides and then press the rest of the seams in the whole way around like this, 1.3 centimetres. Then when you've done that, we're going to pin them to our dress. So here I've pinned my pocket in place and now I'm going to edge stitch, so that's stitching close to the edge all the way around like this, and I'm also going to do a little triangle into each corner just to secure it. Right, with your pockets sewn on, you now want to prepare the front of your skirt panels. So what I've done is I've applied a thin strip of interfacing down the front like this, just because it's got on the bias, that line of the front of the skirt. It can ripple a little bit, so it tells you to do extra stay stitching, but what you can do is if you apply a thin piece of interfacing like this, so this is only just over 1 centimetre wide, then press it back 6 mil and then press it back again another centimetre like this, and then we're going to stitch down the front of your skirt panels. Now I've just decided to cut some lining pieces for my skirt, so I've just cut the same pieces for front and back as that are on the pattern, and then I'm just adding it now. So I've folded it in within that front fold. I'm going to leave it loose down the sides and at the bottom, and then just attach it in at the waistband here when I attach this to the waistband and the bodice. So I've just done that because this is cotton lawn and I felt it would be quite see-through in the skirt in good light if I didn't do this. So that's what I've done on mine. It's not lined in the pattern, so you don't have to do this, it just depends on what fabric you're using. Join your front skirt pieces to your back skirt piece. Now fold your belt pieces in half lengthways like this, and you're going to sew around the outer edge. When you've sewn them in place, you're going to turn them through and then give them a press. Pin your waistband to your dress bodice like this, and it should extend past the end here by 1.6 centimetres. Sew that in place. Bear in mind that the opening for pulling your belt through will be on the right side of this waistband. So the interfaced one is on the outside and the uninterfaced one will be on the inside. Now pin the bottom of your waistband to your skirt like this. So you may want to do it from this side so that you can keep it even. Stitch your belt ends on to either side of your outer waistband, here and here at this side. And then we're going to assemble our facing. So the bottom of the waistband on the inside, I'm sewing it from the outside in the ditch, So I've pinned it, but you need to make sure that you catch in the bottom of it where it's folded under. Now you can feel it with your fingers, but just be careful when you're doing this. Now hem the bottom of your dress. I'm doing a double fold, just a small one. So here it is finished. I think I just need to take a little bit off my lining before I finish hemming the lining. So I've finished the dress, I just wanted to check my lining before I just hem that. So if you've just made it as it is in the pattern, you won't have added the lining. I just did that because it was light in the skirt and I felt it needed it. So I'll insert some more pictures of it when I can take some outside. It's raining at the moment, so get a better light outside to see it. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed sewing along with me today. Please let me know in the comments if you tried this and how you got on, or if you've made it before. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.